The NBA draft is just a few days away now, which means it is time to release my final 2026 NBA draft big board. And I actually have already released it in the form of 15,000 words in my official NBA draft guide. It's my first article that I've ever posted. It'll be in the link below. So for this video, I'm not going to use any visuals or screenshots. If you want to follow along, you could follow along with the article that I posted. This video is more just to be more of a podcast form review of my big board for people to listen to if they don't have the time to read my article. So without further ado, we're starting it off with Cameron Boozer. His archetype, playmaking inside-out glass cleaner. He reminds me of Kevin Love and Karl Anthony Towns. He arguably had the best college basketball season of all time, winning the Wooden Award for College Player of the Year. He is one of the most offensively polished freshmen in recent draft memory, with 25% assist rate. His unique ability to be a post playmaking hub created plenty of actions that led to easy scoring opportunities. This is paired with a 3-level scoring ability that commonly draws double teams, leaving teammates open for him to dish the ball. His offensive rebound percentage of 12.5 puts him in the 97th percentile of offensive rebounding due to pure strength and a high motor. While not being the most impressive athlete of the class, Boozer relies on IQ, hands, and positioning to be a net positive defender. These skills are ideal and help defense as understanding of angles and anticipation ensures that he can generate turnovers without committing fouls. Boozer can get beat at the point of attack due to slower lateral movements, but overall, his promise as a help defender and his rare offensive skills negate any hesitation I'd have at taking him first overall. Leading the nation in BPM, which is box plus minus, while having a 60% true shooting percentage on 30% usage rate is something that you just don't see every day. Oh, and did I mention he's the youngest player in the draft? My draft bet, Cameron Boozer will win multiple championships before he retires. At number 2, we have Darren Peterson. His archetype is a disruptive shot maker. He reminds me of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Donovan Mitchell. Peterson is a rhythmic facilitator, but more importantly, an elite shot maker. He shot 14 threes per 100 possessions with just under 40% efficiency. The versatility of his shot making is the main reason why I have him second overall. Darren is truly lethal in any situation he's put in. He can shoot spot up, off the dribble, off balance, in the pick and roll, in transition. Peterson has the ultimate green light at all times. Pair that with his sneaky good handle and quick first step, he becomes practically unguardable with the ball in his hands. On the flip side, Peterson's defensive instincts create 2-on-1 transition opportunities, usually leading to free throws. He has a great hip rotation and is an active in passing lanes and utilizes his size to defend multiple positions. Assuming Peterson stays off the injury report, we may have a generational offensive player entering the league. My draft bet, by the end of his career, Darren Peterson will be the franchise 3-point leader for the team that drafts him. At number 3, we have AJ Dembonsta. His archetype is a lead scoring slasher. He shows shades of Jason Tatum and Andrew Wiggins. AJ Dembonsta has the most NBA-ready scoring package in the draft class. His elite athletic profile and advanced footwork allows him to get to the rim at will. With exceptional self-creation, AJ consistently finishes through contact and should have no shortage of providing SportsCenter top 10 plays. His mid-range arsenal is loaded with fadeaways, drop steps, and step-throughs, which is no surprise. With Dembonsta added to his game during his freshman year off the dribble is playmaking. Cross-court passing with either hand with precision elevated his offensive profile, surpassing the college level. Defensively, he possesses elite physical traits but doesn't utilize them to his full potential. At his best, he's a good on-ball stopper that utilizes his wingspan, making it incredibly difficult for the ball handler to create space. The biggest leap yet to be made in his game is simply processing. He can be slow to read and anticipate, causing him to be a step slow at time regardless of how quick he is in general. That will develop over time with reps and guidance from his vets. Dembonsta's ceiling is sky high and will immediately become a top scoring option. My draft bet, Dembonsta will finish top 10 in jersey sales as a rookie and have multiple 30-point per game seasons. Number 4 is Caleb Wilson. His archetype is play finishing rim defender. He reminds me of Blake Griffin and Jonathan Isaac. Caleb Wilson has incredible defensive range and a high motor to maximize it. During his freshman year, he accumulated an impressive dunk total, even though he missed the back half of the season due to injury. His two-level scoring ability stems from his quick twitch, giving him an advantage as a lob threat and in transition. At the next level, he projects to be a high post weapon and should develop as a connective passer. Among tracked prospects in this draft class, Caleb ranks first in pressure pass success rate at 93.5%. At 6'10 with a 7-foot wingspan, his defensive floor is locked into being an above-average NBA player. He is a premium candidate to become a perennial switch defender on the perimeter or down low. The only question is if his shooting, 26% from 3, will develop into being serviceable. My draft bet, Caleb Wilson will average over 3 steals plus blocks per game for his career. At number 5, we have Michael Brown Jr. His archetype, creative 3-level lead guard. He shows shades of Cade Cunningham and John Morant. Michael Brown has all the tools to be a special player in the NBA. While his freshman year did not meet expectations, he was still the best player on a 6-seeded Louisville squad that lost in the round of 32. Brown was already comfortable shooting NBA range threes off the dribble and off screens. Being such a deep threat forced defenders to pick him up after crossing half court, only so Brown could blow by them with his rapid first step. Off the dribble, Michael thrives as a passer, displaying elite levels of court awareness and a deep bag of ball fakes. If teams want to win, get the ball in his hands, it's that simple. On defense, Michael isn't as physical as you'd expect for his size, but his vision translates to good spatial awareness, allowing him to be effective in passing lanes. But the primary focus of development will be to increase his shooting efficiency and bulk up so he can maximize his frame. My draft bet, Michael Brown Jr. will become an all-star by age 24. At number 6, we have Darius Acuff Jr. His archetype, compact off-the-dribble bullseye. He shows shades of Jamal Murray and Trae Young. Darius Acuff pairs being offensively gifted with first-class decision-making to be a lethal weapon that cannot be contained. The biggest thing that stood out to me while watching his tape was his eyes. He's focused, constantly evaluating and making the right play. The game moves in slow motion for him. His proactive nature and competitiveness reveal a ceiling worthy of him sliding into 6th in my rankings. Being a compact guard, Darius understands how to use his lower center of gravity to create separation, leading to routine pull-up jumpers. His defense is the major developmental block holding him back for being in Tier 1. He has poor effort and doesn't generate turnovers, nonetheless deterring the ball handler from getting to his spot. The good news is his physical tools project his on-ball defense to grow, especially knowing he's a gym rat. My draft bet, Darius Acuff will be the 5th rookie in NBA history to have a 30-point, 10-assist game on at least 70% true shooting, joining Stephen Curry, Trae Young, Andrew Nembhard, and Derek Queen. At number 7, I have Braden Berries. His archetype is a Swiss Army knife and reminds me of Devin Booker and Ty Jerome. Braden Berries may not have a weakness in his game. You can import him into any organization and he will find a way to be a positive impact player, willing to play any role. He thrives as a secondary creator known for efficiency and floor spacing. Berries shot 43% from 3 on 5.6 attempts per game. Not only is he a deep threat, but he can change gears on a dime and tends to catch defenders off guard driving to the rim. Additionally, Berries thrives in transition with or without the ball. If he isn't drawing the foul, he's crashing the glass for easy putback points. Defensively, he is tireless and quick to close out or help prevent his teammates from getting blown past. Active hands and deflections in his game. That should have been a full sentence. He has active hands and deflections in his game. His ideal area of growth is to become proactive with the ball in order to create more opportunities than simple plays. Draft bet, Braden Berries will make the playoffs at least 8 years of his career. At number 8, we have Hans Steinbach. His archetype is an elite rebounding paint beast. He shows shades of Alperen Sengun and Domantas Sabonis. Hans Steinbach may lack verticality and high-volume shooting, but that doesn't stop him from being a dominant rebounder with a soft touch that projects to expand over time. His overwhelming strength helped generate nearly 12 rebounds a game. Hans finished with 20 double-doubles over a 30-game span. He moves defenders like they are practice dummies and is great at drawing fouls. While many bigs can't move out of the post due to athleticism, Hans is surprisingly nimble and maneuvers well to be a connective post playmaker at times. I expect Hans to be able to develop into a reliable pick and pop threat in the NBA. Defensively, he uses the same strength and IQ to deter players from getting to the basket. Overall, Hans plays a simple game, and I'm high on his ability to develop his range to truly become an all-star caliber threat. My draft bet, Hans Steinbach will finish top 5 in season rebounds per game at least twice in his career. Number 9, we have Keaton Wagler. His archetype as a sniper combo guard reminds me of Steve Nash and Chris Middleton. As an Illini fan, Wagler will forever have a special place in my heart. Nobody expected him to get significant playing time, nonetheless become an all-time Illini great. As the primary initiator, Wagler became a superb high-volume shooter with a 62.6 true shooting percentage on the season. Wagler's career-high 46 points came against an Elite Eight Purdue team. Keaton achieved this not by outstanding speed, but by controlling the pace and creating separation masterfully. Furthermore, he is unaffected by pressure, staying calm, cool, and collected, making great reads. His 2.5 assist-to-turnover ratio is a sign that he will translate as a creator and lead ball handler in offenses that prioritize spacing. Defensively, Wagler has some concerning athletic constraints. He still has a high motor and IQ to be serviceable, but needs to be in lineups where other defenders can pick up his slack. Gaining muscle and spending time on his body will be his key to high-level success. My draft bet, Keaton Wagler will get 6-man votes as a rookie. Number 10, Kingston Flemings. His archetype, downhill two-way energizer. He has shades of De'Aaron Fox and Rajon Rondo. Kingston Flemings has the quickest first step in the draft, making it near impossible to stay in front of one-on-one. If by chance the defender is able to stay in front of him, it won't matter because he shot 44.4% on over 130 pull-up jumpers. While his acceleration is like a Ferrari, he needs to work on decelerating with the ball. The best guards in the NBA are masters of both. By being a Kelvin Sampson disciple, Flemings is naturally unselfish with the ball. Where Kingston truly thrived in the Houston Cougar culture was on the defensive side of the ball, where he flourished as a nagging perimeter deflection machine. His relentless motor and toughness are winning attributes every coach wants to have on their team. Draft bet, Kingston Flemings will have a 14-year career. At 11, we have Yaxel Lenenborg. His archetype is a switchable two-way connected forward and reminds me of Scotty Barnes and Aaron Gordon. I had the opportunity to scout Yax in person this year at the Sweet 16 in Chicago, and man, oh man, is he NBA ready. Typically drafting a 23-year-old in the lottery has a low hit rate. Yaxel is a different case. Players drafted in the first round with a 7'4 wingspan have a ridiculously high hit rate, frequently seen in defensive impact. He was the centerpiece of one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time and has the prototypical traits you look for in an NBA-ready forward. One of those is being a great connective passer in the half court, but also in transition. Over his college career, he steadily improved his spot of shooting primarily in the corners. Yaxel's instincts and experience are factors to why he adds value in drop coverage. His biggest flaw other than age is lack of movement shooting, but that isn't his game in the first place. My draft bet is that Yaxel Lenenborg will start right away and end the season averaging 13-6, 2.5 with 1.5 stocks. Number 12, we have LeBaron Philon. His archetype, inside-out, scoring, shifty sheriff. Shades of Kemba Walker and Tony Parker. Watching him score a career-high 35-point in person confirmed without a doubt that Philon belongs in the lottery. He is the best decelerator in the class and is a pro's pro playmaking and putting the ball in the hoop. Philon's change of direction paired with his soft touch makes him a scary one-on-one target to defend. For example, he managed to shoot 100%, 41 for 41 on unassisted mid-range shots. That is not a typo. From his freshman to sophomore year, Philon grew the most in his patience and leadership, taking on the primary role to a top 25 team in the country. Averaging 22 points per game on 40% off the dribble three-point shooting is exactly the NBA production teams yearn for in a lead guard. If needed, LeBaron's first year at Alabama proved he can be effective off the ball as well. While he grew leaps and bounds offensively, his defense was stagnant from year 1 to 2. Philon is still a still capable on-ball defender, but his high usage made him black hustle off the ball and got caught standing at times. Since I don't expect him to be playing 30 minutes per night, we can expect his defensive skills to shine again at the next level. My draft bet is LeBaron Philon will finish top 10 in career games played out of the draft class. Number 13, we have Cameron Carr. His archetype is a 3-and-D shooter and reminds me of Trey Murphy and Karis LeVert. The first thing that stands out about Cameron Carr is his 7'2" wingspan for his 6'5" frame. He has the makings of an elite defender and rebounder at his position on measurables alone. Carr often plays above the rim, finishing gravity-defying transition dunks. He is also a sniper, scoring nearly 19 points per game on 61.8% true shooting. In the NBA, there is no doubt Carr will be a secondary scorer, flying around the court, tiring defenders out. Defensively, Carr has provided rim protection, which is rare for his position. His length allows him to cover ground, and his 42.5-inch max vertical propels him higher than anyone else on the court. Carr always dives for the loose ball and successfully navigates screens. His limited playmaking ability and thin frame will hold him back from ever touching a max contract. But overall, Cam is absolutely a team-first player that adds significant value to winning basketball. Draft bet. Cameron Carr will be the first player in NBA history to win both the dunk contest and three-point contest. At 14, we have Adai Mara. His archetype is defensive playmaking giant. Reminds me of Khalil Ware and Walker Kessler. For being 7'3", Adai Mara is extremely versatile. Mara shows flashes of being an elite post playmaker with keen vision, but doesn't always make the smartest choices. His inconsistency is a big reason why Mara isn't my top center prospect in the draft. He does consistently produce second chance buckets from tip-ins and putbacks. Mara thrives in the pick and roll. Shot blocking is clearly a special quality of his derived by precise timing and not falling for pump fakes. If Mara can lower his turnover rate, gain upper body strength, and improve his 56.4% free throw percentage, he will become a matchup nightmare. But for now, he barely slides into my lottery level tier simply due to size and upside. Draft bet, Mara is more of a project player than you think. Do not expect too much production in his first 2 years. At 15, we have Dalen Swain. His archetype is a slasher, reminds me of Gordon Hayward and Will Riley. Dalen Swain's game is pure and fun to watch. He creatively penetrates the D and finishes at rim at a high level. He almost resembles an NFL edge rusher, bending around screens and swiping the ball away. He will thrive in the NBA already, being able to help draw fouls at a high clip in college. His control and processing helps him facilitate for himself and others. Swain is more impactful with the ball in his hands, but that doesn't stop him from having gravity in an offensive system. Dalen utilizes his length advantageously, swiping long passes and being the catalyst of many fast breaks. He can defend multiple positions, but isn't necessarily a great defender. Working on spot-up shooting should be his biggest focus, but Swain has a high floor and can be a contributor sooner rather than later. My draft bet, Dalen Swain will average 10 points per game for at least 6 seasons in his career. At 16, we have Henry Visar. His archetype is a stretch big, reminding me of Pau Gasol and Mo Wagner. Henry Visar is one of the most underrated players in this draft cycle. A 7-footer shooting 60-40 splits, averaging nearly 2 stocks per game is extremely translatable to the NBA. Henry has a high feel for the game and is impressive coordination for his size. He's unselfish with the ball and is always looking to make the right play. His role as a floor spacer at the 4 or 5 is clear as day, and he will thrive in a variety of offenses. While Visar is mobile, he isn't athletic, which is the root of his defensive limitations. He is better suited in drop coverage and needs to be paired with another big who can defend at the rim. He is a simple yet overlooked type of player that hopefully a team in the first round will realize. Draft bet, Henry Visar will have multiple 20-point playoff games within the next decade. At 17, we have Bennett Sturts. His archetype is floor general, reminding me of Jalen Brunson and Walter Clayton. Bennett Sturts isn't a super athletically gifted, nor does he play at a fast pace, yet he is a tough shot maker and wins everywhere he goes. He is the definition of a high floor player and, in my opinion, and relatively modest ceiling compared to the rest of the class. Sturts runs the most pick and roll actions in the class since his best trait is basketball IQ. He thrives on having multiple options and dissecting defenses. He can also stop and pop from behind the arc, shooting 38.6% on threes this past season. Sturts is also considered the best conditioned player in the class, averaging the most minutes per game out of anyone in college basketball. On defense, he can become a liability, lacking all the physical tools to become average. He will have to play off ball and rely on his IQ to try and make an occasional stop from time to time. Draft bet, Bennett Sturts will outplay his draft position. At number 18, we have Chris Senack Jr. His archetype is a stretch 5 rebounder and reminds me of Noah Clowney and Jalen Duren. Senack's freshman year wasn't analytically stunning, but he showed a ton of promise. He is incredibly fluid and one of the most dangerous transition defenders in all of college basketball. Chris also is a high energy rebounder, which projects him to be a high usage putback dunker at the next level. The underrated part of his game is being a strong screen setter. On defense, his active hands and sturdy anchor give the upside for him to become a very good rim protector given his mobility. Draft bet, Chris Senack Jr. will finish his career averaging over 8.5 rebounds per game. 19, we have Christian Anderson. He is a pure point guard, reminding me of Jamal Murray and James Bouknight. Christian Anderson is a true 3-level scoring point guard. His processing and patience are key traits that provide the opportunity to score at will. Anderson is also a superb game manager, averaging over 7 assists per game with low turnover rate. For a thin frame, Christian actually generates steals at an above average rate, but is still vulnerable to getting beat inside the arc. He has the perfect identity to be a great 6-man, but with some work on explosiveness and hitting the weight room, he very well could blossom into a lead guard. Draft bet, Christian Anderson will have multiple double-doubles in his rookie year. At number 20, we have Morez Johnson Jr. His archetype is an athletic switch defender, reminding me of PJ Washington and Colin Murray Boyles. Morez Johnson is a phenomenal defender and is athletic enough to guard all 5 positions on the court. His ability to help recover on the perimeter or in the paint is rare for an athlete of his size. Offensively, I struggle to see a way he succeeds outside of the pick and roll. His major leap in 3-point shooting from freshman to sophomore year was quite impressive, but not convincing enough for me to believe he can continue that success with more attempts per game. His high motor and willingness to adapt his game separates himself from others. He is a question mark for me in a good way. Excited to see how his career unfolds. My draft bet, Morez Johnson Jr. will either become a longtime starter or struggle to find playing time. No in between. At 21, we have Kareem Lopez. His archetype is being a jack of all trades, reminding me of Deni Avdija and Tristan da Silva. Kareem Lopez projects to be a good slasher at the next level with above-average footwork, body control, and strength. He was a solid offensive rebounder as one of the youngest players in a professional league. While I still wouldn't say he has the ball in a string, he does get creative with his handle, forcing defenses to collapse so he can kick it back out to his teammates. Lopez rarely initiates with the ball in his hands, so he'll need to be in an offense paired with a primary pass-first point guard. Kareem's 7'1" wingspan does not go on waste on defense. He tied the next star's record for stocks in a season and finished with a 4% block rate. Lopez will be a solid switchable defender and can disrupt NBA offenses. At times, Lopez looks raw, unaware, and slow to pick up on screens and rotations. This is likely due to inexperience, but is something an organization will have to be confident in developing. My draft bet is that Kareem Lopez will have a top 3 box plus minus on whatever team he gets drafted to in his rookie year. 22, we have Jaden Quaintance. He is a quick twitch rim defender, reminding me of DeAndre Jordan and Jarrett Allen. In high school, JQ was the best defensive prospect I had ever witnessed. Several injuries over the past 2 seasons makes me question if he can ever return to the player he was. He will still defensively be an exceptional shot blocker and intriguing athlete. The worry is if he can still move horizontally, as he formerly had a guard-like foot, speed, and agility. One constant in his game is being an optimal lob threat. Not to restate the obvious, but if I know he would stay healthy, he'd be a top 10 lock. The injury history and lack of shooting are 2 main factors as to why I think it's a risk to take him much higher than the 22nd pick. My draft bet If healthy, Jaden Quaintance will be featured on multiple all-defensive teams. At 23, we have Isaiah Evans. He is a three-point sniper. He reminds me of Jordan Hawkins and Jeremy Lamb. Isaiah Evans had an under-the-radar breakout sophomore campaign. His thin frame didn't hold him back from getting bumped around. Evans' improvement, getting stronger with the ball, increases efficiency, is a tell that he can continue developing into a starting sharpshooter in the NBA. He thrives spacing the floor and shooting off the move. He shows defensive flashes and has the potential to continue that growth with his 6'9" wingspan. Isaiah can improve on playmaking. He is already starting to master his role, and that's also a green flag. Draft bet, Isaiah Evans will make over $100 million in his career. 24, we have Koa Pete. He's a bully ball glass cleaner. Shades of Kevon Looney and Thaddeus Young. Koa Pete showcased some of the most physical dominance from a freshman we have seen in a long time. He has the interior scoring skills of a late 90s center, but the body of a modern two-way wing. While intriguing, also concerning to say the least. Pete has thrived in the low post, demonstrating his dominant strength and fundamentals to get easy layups and one-foot jumpers. Defensively, there is no doubt he can exceed expectations yet again and alter shots at the rim at a high level. I wish I could say his shooting will develop, but the form and confidence is abysmal and will need to restart his mechanics from the ground up. My draft bet, if Koa Pete gets enough attempts, he will lead the league in worst three-point percentage one season of his career. At 25, we have Sergio De La Rey. He is a floor general reminding me of Josh Giddey and Yegor Gelman. Sergio has excellent size for a point guard at 6'6" with a 6'9" wingspan. His high IQ and creativity separate him from other tall guards. His court vision is equal to that of a soccer midfielder. He understands angles and timing to the point it has become subconscious. De La Rey doesn't have downhill speed, but is able to stop and go to catch defenders off balance. Sergio will flourish as a pass-first ball handler, whether he gets 10 or 30 minutes a game. His positional length carries his defensive impact by being able to clog passing lanes and contested shots. But he lacks lateral quickness and burst, making him prey for opposing quick twitch guards. My draft bet is that Sergio De La Rey will age like fine wine and hit his prime after the age of 27. At 26, we have Joshua Jefferson. His archetype is a point forward rebounder. He reminds me of Draymond Green and Carlos Boozer. Joshua Jefferson scores as over 1.10 points per possession, attacking and kicking it out as the pick and roll passer and hitting a cutter. With a 27.7% assist percentage and 10.1 box creation, Jefferson lands in the 99th percentile in both categories. He is simply an analytical monster that is overlooked by most. Despite his size, Joshua's play style works well in offenses that value spacing. He is also a good rebounder, averaging over 7 a game. There's no reason to fade him becoming a valuable role player at the next level. The only question is how high is his ceiling. He plays well-rounded and will contribute right away. My draft bet, Joshua Jefferson will continue to run primary passing actions for his whole NBA career. 27, we have Zuby Ejiofor. His archetype is a defensive anchor, reminding me of Deron Holmes and Isaiah Stewart. If there's ever a loose ball in the court, Zuby is the first one to die for it. He's a master switch defender and never seems to lose one-on-ones. Zuby plays much larger than his size, amassing a 5.2% block rate. This is the type of asset that becomes a game changer in playoff scenarios. He is also a productive play finisher, avid to clean up any missed shots. Zuby has tendencies to draw fouls, at which he shoots 73% from the line. His height, age, and poor shooting efficiency are all reasons to believe he won't have a high ceiling, but I'm telling you right now, teams in the back half of the first round will regret passing on him. My draft bet is that Zuby Ejiofor will be known for having multiple game-saving blocks. At 28, we have Malik Thomas. His archetype is a floor spacing perimeter disruptor. He reminds me of Ryan Rollins and Bones Hyland. Malik Thomas has a scoring mentality primarily utilized as an off-ball shooter who can create off the dribble. His range is NBA level deep and will have no issues adjusting to the longer three-point line. He can also attack lazy closeouts and finish plays with his smooth floater. I suspect Malik Thomas will be used off the bench as a spark plug role, but I wouldn't be surprised if he plays as a starting off-ball spacer. On the defensive side, he is agile and hustles everywhere, leading to broken down plays where the offense needs to reset. At the NBA level, I think he will be serviceable, but nothing beyond average. In order to elevate his game, his shot selection could improve by not forcing shots when double teams. My draft bet is that Malik Thomas will become a fan favorite for every franchise he plays for. At 29, we have Ibuka Okori. His archetype is a 3-level scorer, reminding me of Colin Sexton and D'Angelo Russell. I am well aware this ranking projects Okori to hit his floor. He had unbelievable production as a freshman and showed flashes of rare skills, but my biggest worry is his versatility. Ibuka was in an offense that handed him the keys to be the only scoring threat with no help around him. He was put in a perfect situation, and we never saw how he can manage off the ball or against an elite point of attack defender. Nonetheless, his efficiency, given the 30% usage rate, is an impressive feat. Okori is arguably the best in his class at splitting double teams and contorting his body to finish tough layups. If a defender is able to stop him, Okori can stop on a dime and comfortably shoot in the mid-range. On defense, he's quick and agile, generating 1.5 steals per game last year, but his small frame is a massive red flag at the next level. My draft bet, Ibuka Okori will be overdrafted and will struggle to stay in a starting rotation. Racking up 6 Man of the Year votes is his future. At 30, we have Baba Miller. His archetype is a jumbo playmaking forward, reminding me of Giannis and Jonathan Isaac. Baba Miller's 7'2" wingspan and high IQ is a rare combination for a forward to possess. He is athletic enough to defend guards on the perimeter and block bigs in the post. Baba's vision is a strong suit in evaluating where the ball will end up so he can close out and crash glass. He may just be the most portable defender in the draft, which is the main reason I rank him so much higher than consensus. Miller's court vision also applies to his offensive game as he makes quick decisions and finds the open player more often than not. His specific style of play will get him drafted to play that role, but there are many basic factors, mainly shooting, that will hold him back from ever being a full-time starter. My draft bet is that Baba Miller will be considered a major draft steal 5 years from now. At 31, we have Tarris Reed. His archetype is a rim protector, reminding me of Oscar Tshiebwe and Kofi Cockburn. Tarris Reed has a nice blend of bully ball post moves and soft touch finesse that helps him be efficient around the rim with putback dunks and baby hook shots. Reed can't shoot threes, but he often can knock down a few pull-up jumpers here and there. The most important facet of his game is offensive rebounding. On UConn's run to the Final Four, Tarris dominated the board and was the focal point of their winning streak. He is an anchor that averaged 2 blocks a game and deterred many others. My draft bet is that Tarris Reed will have a productive 6 to 8 year career as a backup center. Number 32, Jaron Pierre Jr. His archetype is a high-volume scorer with shades of Benedict Mathurin and Jaden Ivey. Jaron Pierre Jr. is the one player I know will be a steal of the draft or UDFA regardless of what his analytics, age, play style is. I fell in love with his game while he was at Jacksonville State. The majority of his analytics actually mimic Ben Mathurin coming out of college, except Pierre is much older, which certainly limits his ceiling. But Jaron is a tireless, fast break threat and jumps out the gym with authority. He can shoot at a high clip and blow past any defender he chooses. Pierre can get caught up in playing hero ball and only has one speed, but man, he screams bench catalyst that can get his team going. My draft bet, Jaron Pierre Jr. will have a career high over 35 points. At 33, we have Nate Ament. He is a stretch wing with shades of Kelly Oubre and Harrison Barnes. As you can tell, I am out on the Nate Ament hype train. I think he projects to be a solid shot blocker and switchable defender, despite being neither in college, due to his athleticism and not fitting Rick Barnes' defensive scheme. Offensively, he is lost. Poor decision making on making bad efficiency with tendencies to fade away and lack separation. On the bright side, Nate has crazy, fluid, and high release that makes putting a hand in his face hopeless. And while his overall shooting splits were bad, he did shoot 39.3% on movement threes. So, disregarding the fact that he would have benefited staying another year of college, he does have the framework and time to become a bench contributor. All of this top 10 hype is nonsense, and I hope that is all smoke and not a reality. My draft bet is that Nate Ament will be considered the bust of this draft class. 34, Allen Graves. He is a spot-up defensive playmaker, reminding me of Toumani Camara and Hugo Gonzalez. Allen Graves has been one of the more fascinating draft profiles I've scouted. His advanced analytics at a glance resembles that of a top 10 pick until you realize he achieved this on low volume coming off the bench for a mid-major school. He earned the title of being one of 3 players since 2008 to surpass a 5% steal and block rate. He will continue to disrupt NBA offenses, he will continue to disrupt offenses in the NBA, but maybe not quite at that high of a rate. Graves is a raging rebounder, mimicking a tight end and going up for a 50-50 ball. Allen plays a unselfish game by passing up good shot for great shots, and when left open is a reliable shooter. Other than not having much experience playing against NBA-level competitors, his mediocre handle and lackluster vertical cap his offensive playstyle. Likewise, his foul trouble and slow feet make me doubt his ability to be more than a rotational piece. My draft bet is that Graves will never touch a starting lineup and be effective in 15 to 20 minute per game usage. At 35, we have Ugonna Onyenso. He is a rim-protecting play finisher, reminding me of Clint Capella and Mitchell Robinson. Onyenso's 7'5" wingspan and natural instincts are exactly what GMs want to draft when selecting a future rim protector. He can cover ground rather quickly, which naturally translates to a plus drop coverage profile. He plays a very traditional game, being a lob, pick, and roll target. Unfortunately, he gets cold feet posting up and is extremely passive, creating opportunities for himself. Draft bet, Ugonna will have at least 3 multi-block games in his rookie year. At 36, we have Jack Cahill. He is a pure point guard reminding me of Killian Hayes and Tyrese Halliburton. Jack Cahill came to my attention late in this draft cycle, but I'm glad he did. He has a dog mentality and plays much bigger than his true size. He is flashy and accurate passer that isn't afraid to hit big-time step-back threes during any stretch of the game. He still needs at least a year or 2 to refine his game, but I would love taking a shot on developing him as he can become a beneficial, low-risk backup guard. My draft bet is that Jack Cahill will impress at the Summer League but struggle in his NBA minutes. Expect him to spend the majority of the year in the G League. At 37, we have Trevon Brazile. He is an athletic stretch 4, reminding me of Larry Nance Jr. and Dorian Finney-Smith. Brazile will throw down some of the most Brazile will throw down some of the most jaw-dropping dunks you'll see, but that is not the extent of his game. He can shoot threes and trigger stocks at a high rate in addition to rarely turning the ball over. His game translates well to the NBA and should be a surefire bench addition. My draft bet, Brazile will have the most consistent counting numbers over the first 4 years of his career compared to the rest of the class. 38, we have Richie Saunders. He's 3-and-D, reminding me of Pat Connaughton and Reggie Bullock. Richie Saunders' final season was unfortunately cut short due to injury, but assuming he bounces back to the player he was early in the season, he will have no issue in the NBA. He was on pace to average 17.5 points on 42% from 3 for most of those attempts coming off screens and cuts. Saunders is an extreme competitor doing the dirty work on defense and is making active rotational reads. Fun fact, he is actually related to KFC's Carl Sanders. Draft bet. Richie Saunders will become a prominent hustle guy earning the fans' approval. Also, sorry about the voice. I'm coming back from a sinus infection, so Is what it is. Deal with it. I apologize. 39, we have Braden Smith. He is a quality bench talent and a facilitator. Shades of RJ Nembhard and TJ McConnell. As a diehard Illini fan, I am beyond relieved we do not have to play Braden Smith anymore. Breaking Bobby Hurley's all-time assist record is something I thought I'd never see with my own eyes. No matter the physical or situational barriers, Braden exceeded expectations and became the greatest passer in college basketball history. There is no reason for me to think that changes in the NBA. Obviously, his role will be limited to playmaking, but being a master of a specific role is better than being a decent in every facet. He also is an above 40% three-point shooter, which helps his case for being a high-floor prospect. My draft bet is that Braden Smith's passing abilities will convert to the NBA, and he will finish top 3 in assists per game out of this draft class when it's all said and done. At 40, we have Bruce Thornton. He's an efficient, scrappy scorer, reminding me of Gabe Vincent and Miles McBride. Bruce Thornton is one of the more skilled scorers in the draft, leaving little margin for error. He can attack the rim and shoot from deep, but unlike other guards his size, he is actually a scrappy rebounder. He has solid strength and a low center of gravity he relies on to be a competent defender. His age and size constraints are the main factors holding him back from having a high enough ceiling to put him any higher. My draft bet: Bruce Thornton will average 9 points per game on over 38% shooting from threes rookie year. 41, we have Alex Karaban. He's 3-and-D, reminding me of Sam Hauser and Tristan DeSilva. Alex Karaban is one of the winningest players in recent college basketball memory, appearing in 3 championship games and winning 2 of them. His most obvious winning trait is his consistent three-point shooting, averaging 37.8% on 5 attempts per game. Karaban is also an above-average processor for his position and can be relied on to make good decisions with the ball in his hands. On defense, Alex doesn't have exceptional athleticism, but he uses his IQ, generating 1.6 stocks per game. He projects to be a solid rotational defender that helps space the floor and increase offensive productivity. My draft bet is that Alex Karaban will have at least 8 years. He will have an at least 8-year career in the NBA. At 42, we have Quadir Copeland. He's a physically gifted point guard, reminding me of Anthony Black and Delano Banton. Quadir Copeland's game is defined by raw athleticism, efficiency, and taking care of the ball well for his high usage. He flaunts a 28% usage rate with a 41.8 assist percentage rate and a 2.3 assist to turnover ratio. I firmly believe that part of his game is the most overlooked to do basic counting stats of having 2.8 turnovers a game. The attack and kick play style is where he thrives, being able to collapse the defense and seek out the open man. Quadir's height is beneficial in the pick and roll to look over defenses. When he isn't making plays, Copeland is finishing plays at the rim, creating exhilarating highlights. Copeland can guard both the 1 and 2 and average nearly 2 steals per game. Overall, he's a gem hidden in plain sight, yet there's no draft buzz around him whatsoever. My draft bet is that Quadir Copeland will play in 45 minutes. Quadir Copeland will play in over 45 games his rookie season. At 43, we have Kylan Boswell. He's a physical point guard, reminding me of Davion Mitchell and Kyle Lowry. Boswell is a solid pick-and-pop guard who elevates against high-level competition. He's the ultimate hustler, diving for loose balls and always making quick and intentional motions. Despite Kylan's short stature, he's actually one of the stronger players per square inch in the draft. In college, Boswell was utilized in various roles, most of which involved him being primary connective passer. He has the intangibles to run the second unit, but will need to continue his speed and vertical. Kylan Boswell bursts onto the scene early in his career and then simmers out as opponents start to figure out his game. That's my draft bet. At 44, we have Jaden Bradley. He is a pick-and-roll stopper, reminding me of Elisha Martin and Chris Dunn. Jaden Bradley didn't win Big 12 Player of the Year by accident. While not the most skilled, Bradley has a knack for manipulating defenses with his eyes and change of direction. Having world-class teammates open the door for him to easily find open cutters, leading to easy buckets at the rim. Where Jaden will make his money is being a point of attack pest. He plays with tenacity and lateral quickness that makes it difficult for the ball handler to get to a spot. My draft bet is that Jaden Bradley will average at least 1 steal per game over his career. At 45, we have Ryan Conwell. He is a volume sniper and slasher, reminding me of Zach Norvell and Grayson Allen. Ryan Conwell was a key scoring option for Louisville, averaging almost 19 points per game. Nearly 2/3 of his shots came from behind the arc at 34.5% efficiency. Despite mainly scoring from deep, Conwell also can attack the rim. The biggest concern is that he isn't the most efficient and doesn't operate in the mid-range at all. His frame suggests he should be a good defender, but his numbers and film show he's been more of a highlight maker than a true positive impact player. For that reason, he kicks off our Tier 6. My draft bet, Conwell will average over 15 points per game in the G League this year. At 46, we have Jaden Henley. He's an athletic two-way connector, reminding me of Devin Vassell and Stephon Castle. Jaden Henley had a breakout season at Grand Canyon, becoming their best player, and yet still doesn't gather draft buzz in trusted circles. He has NBA size and athleticism and has a high motor on both sides of the ball. It is not ideal to draft a somewhat undeveloped 22-year-old, but I think Henley can rise to the competition and become a killer if handled properly. Worth a shot in the second round as the upside is intriguing. Draft bet, Jaden Henley will play well in March-April as a benchmark legend for when star players are resting or injured before the playoffs. At 47, we have Jacoby Gillespie, who is a pure point guard reminding me of Patty Mills and Terry Rozier. Gillespie is an undersized lead guard who owns a 2.3% assist-to-turnover ratio. On high usage, but is not an efficient scorer. Jacoby excels in transition, applying his speed to push the pace and get a bucket before his defense gets set. He is a steal machine on defense and a relentless hustler. His frame will prevent any high usage potential at the next level, but he is worth taking late in the draft if you need a scrappy ball distributor. My draft bet is that Gillespie will sign a 2-way contract after the draft. At 48, we have Nick Boyd. Nick Boyd is a scoring point guard, reminding me of Yogi Ferrell and Trey Jones. Nick Boyd is super old and super undersized prospect, so why draft him? Well, he is a big-time shot maker and is known trash talker who gets in his opponent's heads. An overlooked hooper who plays mind games means he has a massive chip on his shoulder and is out to prove himself. Give Nick a shot and you may be surprised at the production he returns. Draft bet, Nick Boyd becomes a multiple-time G League All-Star. At 49, we have Malik Brown. He's a versatile defending glue guy, reminding me of Jared Vanderbilt and Cason Wallace. Malik Brown is offensively incapable of being a net positive player outside of finishing at the rim. He's a solid off-ball cutter and screen setter who doesn't require the ball in his hands to create scoring opportunities. Brown's calling card is his NBA-ready defensive instincts and size. He can guard the 3 through 5 and always finds a way to disrupt offenses. Malik's spidey sense on defense establishes his role in the NBA to simply be used in specific defensive scenarios. My draft bet is that Malik Brown will cause a turnover in his first 5 minutes in an NBA game. And number 50, halfway through, finally, I know, we're getting there. Tamin Lipsey. He is a defensive-minded floor general with shades of TJ McConnell and Jamal Shead. Lipsey harnesses his 6'5" wingspan to become a turnover-creating machine as the primary on-ball defender. Tamin doesn't get fazed by larger players and consistently has positional leverage at all times. Lipsey's 5.1 assist-to-turnover ratio is rare and is a glaring green flag that there is solid upside to be freed. Unfortunately, he experienced significant shooting regression that halts any certainty that he will be a consistent contributor. My draft bet is that Lipsey will bounce around from team to team, playing for at least 6 different organizations before calling it quits. At 51, we have Jakari White. He is a 3-and-D player, reminding me of JJ Redick and Tony Kukoc. Jakari White has flown under the radar for too long. He hit some big-time shots for Virginia and had flamethrower games like in the first round of the NCAA tournament, shooting 6 for 8 from 3 and scoring 26 points in the win. If he can continue to hit threes and be an above average defender, there is no reason not to draft him in the second round. The only issue is that he's in a primary ball handler and would make a very small wing, so his defensive upside has a low ceiling. Draft bet is that Jakari White will be one of the best undrafted players in this class. 52, we have Rienk Mast. He is a stretch big, reminding me of Frank Kaminsky and Cameron Bairstow. Rienk Mast is an undersized, floor spacing big who is a part of Nebraska's success this past season. Defensively, Mast has grown leaps and bounds in order to succeed at the next level. But his navigation on offense and stretchability are ideal traits to take a chance on in the league, getting taken over by multi-talented bigs. My draft bet is that Rienk Mast will become a great European professional basketball player. At 53, we have Otega Oweh. His archetype is a high motor rim attacker, reminding me of Malik Monk and Norman Powell. Oweh was one of my favorite future prospects in college basketball at his time in Oklahoma. Now I have started to slightly fade him as his poor decision-making and temper dampen his team's ability to win games. With that being said, he is still a great point of attack defender and transition matchup nightmare. He's a fun watch and has some good tools, but I wouldn't bank on Otega being more than a roster-filling guard. My draft bet is that Oweh will get traded or released during his rookie year. Sorry, I'm coughing. I'm still recovering from being sick, so hang with me. 54, we have William Kyle. He is an athletic rim protector, reminding me of Precious Achiuwa and Wenyen Gabriel. William Kyle is a pure post shot blocker that can jump out the gym. He's a good rebounder for his size, but has zero shooting potential, and he only shot 49.1% on free throws this year. My draft bet is that William Kyle will play 2 or 3 seasons in the NBA. At 55, we have Vsevolod Ishchenko. He is a versatile project player, reminding me of Nikola Topic and Modest Buzelis. Ishchenko is a do-it-all lanky playmaker from Russia. He needs to grow into his body, but his offensive skills are beyond refined for a player of his caliber. If he put up the same production in one of Europe's top leagues, he would surely be a first-round conversations, high risk, high reward. My draft bet is that the team that picks up Vsevolod will throw him into the fire too fast, not taking the time to develop him in the G League. At 56, we have Felix Okpara. He is a rim-protecting anchor, reminding me of Daniel Gafford and Moussa Diabate. Okpara's game is simple: block shots, grab rebounds, catch lobs. It is common but useful archetype, and Felix is solid. Worth a late second-round flyer. My draft bet is that Felix Okpara will score over 80% of his career points on lobs. Tucker DeVries. He is a sharpshooter. At 57, we have Tucker DeVries, who is a sharpshooter, reminding me of Chandler Parsons and Kyle Singler. Tucker DeVries is your classic average athlete with deep range that can get a bucket any spot on the floor. Tucker is a plus rebounder for his size, sneaking him into the top 60. My draft bet is that Tucker DeVries will end his professional career shooting better than 35% from 3. At 58, we have Cade Tyson, who is a floor-spacing wing, reminding me of Marco Bellinelli and Nikola Mirotic. Cade Tyson is a high-volume big shot maker that spaces the floor and scores efficiently. His lean frame and lack of explosiveness chalk up his defensive potential to be nothing but a liability. Nonetheless, Tyson is truly an NBA-level scorer, and that is enough to give him a chance at signing a contract. My draft bet is that Cade Tyson will be a garbage minute shooter for 3 seasons in the NBA. At 59, we have Robbie Avila. He's a high IQ, skilled big, reminding me of Derek Queen and Nikola Jokic. For his position, Avila ranks as the best pick and roll and inside-out passer in the class. His defensive projection is arguably the worst in the class since he is an undersized and poor athlete. That shouldn't hold teams back from taking a chance on his unique creation ability and soft touch. My draft bet is that no NBA team gives him a real chance and Robbie becomes a fan favorite in a non-American professional league. At 60, we have Tyler Bilodeau. He's a skilled scorer, reminding me of Nick Batum and Luke Babbitt. Tyler Bilodeau has a smooth game and understands where he needs to be to get to the floor to get a bucket. He's a great shooter for his size, but is lackluster on defense. The only defensive value he provides is not fouling, which is helpful nonetheless. My draft bet is that Tyler Bilodeau will have at least 2 different 10-point performances in his career. At 61, we have Emmanuel Sharp. He is a disrupting sniper, reminding me of Quentin Grimes and Isaiah Cannon. Emmanuel Sharp shoots 37% from 3, which encapsulates 61% of his shot diet, and is a phenomenal free throw shooter, hitting at an 89% rate. Sharp is built tough and should be a plus defender in the NBA. He has winning habits and will be a second-round draft pick, but hasn't developed much over the past 2 years, so I am fading his ability to grow into a player worthy of rostering. My draft bet is pretty random. Emmanuel Sharp will cry if he gets drafted. Malik Reneau is number 62. He's a post-up rebounder, reminding me of Zach Randolph and James Johnson. Reneau is a high-usage post bucket getter and acted as a connective passer in an electric Miami offense. He started to develop a three-point shot slowly but surely, and I hope it continues to get better. Malik probably won't be much of a defender unless he gets drafted into a perfect scheme. In order for me to take a chance on him, he would need to improve his athleticism and ball security. My draft bet is that Reneau will continue to be a post-up machine and not expand his game much in his professional career. At 63, we have Milos Uzan. He is a role player, reminding me of Andrew Nembhard and Hunter Salas. Uzan looks like a good NBA prospect at first glance. After a deeper dive into his profile, I realized he had the single most regression from last year to this year, ranking in the bottom 10% of plenty important statistical categories, and he had a minus 25.2 on-off net rating. I'm confident that he's a smart basketball player, and his regression isn't as drastic as the numbers read. He was a winning player in college who played well in big moments. This is a tough scout, but I would hesitate to take him in the draft, but would jump all over signing him as a UDFA. My draft bet is that Uzan plays less than 100 career NBA games. At 64, we have Aaron Akumra. He is a 3-and-D player, reminding me of Jordan Walsh and Herb Jones. Aaron Akumra busted on the scene late during the NBA Draft Combine, showcasing elite shooting and versatile on-ball defense. His freakish wingspan contributed to his unbelievable 2.8 steals per game this season. All the tools are there to become a decent NBA player, but not having seen him play against top talent outside of the Combine hurts the projectability of how impactful he can be at the next level. My draft bet is that Aaron Akumra will fill out his frame and weigh at least 190 pounds by the end of his second year in the NBA. At 65, we have Fletcher Loyer. He is a sharpshooter, reminding me of AJ Green and Steve Kerr. Fletcher Loyer's profile is pretty simple. Give him the ball and he'll make it rain. Unfortunately, he doesn't possess any other NBA caliber traits other than his shooting and competitiveness. My draft bet is that Loyer will lead this year's Summer League in three-point percentage. At 66, we have Mark Mitchell. He's a point forward, reminding me of Boris Diaw and Kyle Anderson. Mark Mitchell is a downhill playmaker in the body of a forward. He commonly led transition fast breaks just as much, if not more, than Missouri's leading guard. While he doesn't take many threes, he can hit them at decent efficiency. Mitchell is a solid defender and average rebounder. His play style is unusual in the NBA, and I find it hard to see his talent shining through enough to get real minutes. My draft bet is that Mark Mitchell will have multiple double-doubles this year in the G League. At 67, we have Seth Trimble. He's an athletic slasher, reminding me of Quinn Cook and Frank Mason. Seth Trimble has sneaky athleticism and body control that help him finish at the rim. He can make accurate passes in any offensive scheme. If he could shoot threes better than 28.6%, we would have a real threat of a prospect on our hands. But until then, Trimble is a coin toss on whether or not he can become a true NBA player. My draft bet is that Trimble will have a poster dunk in his first NBA game. At 68, we have Duke Miles. He's a two-way playmaker, reminding me of Monte Morris and Javon Carter. His most impressive stat is shooting 90% from the free throw line. That's good news for a guy who can also get to the rim at a high rate. Duke plays with a smooth rhythm, never seeming to become startled or make boneheaded plays. In another life, Miles would be a defensive back in the NFL, as he can intercept the ball in midair better than most, averaging 2.6 steals per game. My draft bet is that Duke Miles will have more steals per game than his assist-to-turnover ratio in his career. At 69, we have Mohamed Amini. He's a floor spacing slasher reminding me of Ben Seraph and Brandon Paul. Amini is super raw, high upside player that shows flashes of NBA talent, great measurements. Most impressively, he went 37 for 40 on 2-point attempts. My draft bet is that Amini will be a draft and stash player that doesn't see NBA minutes for another 2 years. At 70, we have Dillon Mitchell. Yeah, okay, 30 more. Stick with me. We got this. If you're already listening by now, that's crazy. Thank you for staying along, but it's a long one. He's a connective disruptor, reminding me of Jared Vanderbilt and Mohamed Diawara. Dillon Mitchell has potential to become a solid connective passer and transition finisher, although his offensive profile is brutal. Mitchell's length is his best trait, aiding his ability to cover ground defensively and pull down rebounds like it's a cookie on the jar on top of the fridge. Draft bet, Dillon Mitchell will underperform compared to expectations. 71, we have Ernest Udeh Jr. He is a rim-running anchor, reminding me of Mitchell Robinson and Gershon Yabusele. Ernest Udeh Jr. is another case of a high-motor, play-finishing big who snags rebounds. There isn't much else to his game, so while he's a fine player, there is nothing that separates him from the pack. My draft bet is that Udeh will be playing overseas next year. 72, we have Carson Cooper. He's a low-usage defensive anchor, reminding me of Glenn Davis and Andre Blatch. Carson Cooper blossomed his senior season, taking on a larger role than his first 3 years at MSU. He was a strong defensive-minded center who is fundamentally sound. He will have to expand his offensive arsenal in order to succeed, but Cooper is technically sound and will put up a good fight for a roster spot. My draft bet is that Carson Cooper will end up on a team in California. Gut feeling. At 73, we have Pavel Bako. He is a skilled big, reminding me of Isaiah Hartenstein and Nikola Vucevic. Bako actually backed out of the draft last minute, but at that point my board was finalized, so I will give his report anyway. This kid has a bright future. Being such a good three-point shooter and passer at his age is uncommon. At the same time, he makes some boneheaded decisions, turning the ball over, and is a subpar defender. It was a good idea to stay and play professionally for another year or two. My draft bet is that Pavel Bako will be drafted next year in the top 45. 74, we have Malik Dia. He is a role player, reminding me of Caleb Swanigan and Patrick Williams. My summary is Malik Dia doesn't excel in any specific facet of basketball, but he consistently puts up 13 and 5 a night with a stealthy defensive finesse. My draft bet is that he will be assigned back and forth from NBA to roster to G League for his whole career. At 75, we have Lamar Wilkerson, shot maker, reminding me of Malik Beasley and Gary Trent. Lamar Wilkerson is a 3-level scoring threat and nearly automatic from the free throw line. He specializes in creating off-the-ball dribble and doesn't fumble opportunities in the open floor. In college, he could guard the 1 through 3, but at the next level, I expect him to strictly defend guards. My draft bet is that Lamar Wilkerson will sign a 2-way contract as a rookie. 76 got Peter Suter, combo guard, reminding me of Tyler Kolek and Nick Stauskas. Peter Suter was the leader on the infamous one-loss Redhawks team. Suter can score, drop dimes, and rebound above expectations given his lack of athletic ability. In the tournament loss against Tennessee, Suter still dropped 27 points. Since then, his draft stock has fallen off a cliff after an awful combine performance. Peter can absolutely be an NBA player, but the idea that he's a sleeper prospect in this draft is far-fetched. My draft bet is that Peter Suter will participate in the G League 3-point contest as a rookie. At 77, we have Tyler Nickel. He's a floor-spacing sniper, reminding me of Max Strus and Seth Lundy. Tyler Nickel is one of the purest shooters in the draft, but he fails to play at a high level against the best teams in the country. This class is loaded with shooters, and Nickel is an inadequate defender. Luckily, his frame is projectable for him to grow as a defender, and he can space the floor in modern NBA offenses. My draft bet is that Nickel will shoot over 45% from 3 multiple years in his professional career. At 78, we have Rafael Castro. He's a high-field center, reminding me of Jonathan Mogbo and Paul Reed. Rafael Castro racked up stocks in his final college season. His length and feel for the game created opportunities to display his unique ability for a big man. Castro also dominated the boards, averaging 9.1 rebounds per game. His defensive ceiling is higher than what his ranking may reflect. Offensively, Rafael drew fouls at a high rate, thus inflating his scoring numbers. Attempting 0 threes is a massive red flag that will be hard for teams to get over in the league where that trait is of utmost importance. My draft bet is that Rafael Castro gets drafted above better players who will play the same role. 79, we have Donovan Atwell. He is a sniper, reminding me of Luke Kennard and Greivis Vasquez. There's not much else to say other than Donovan Atwell being a three-point specialist. His role in the NBA will depend on efficiency and defensive development. My draft bet is that Donovan Atwell's first NBA bucket will be a three-pointer. Duh. At 80, we have Trey Kaufman-Renn, who is a skilled interior hub, reminding me of Zach Randolph, Trayce Jackson-Davis. Trey's the king of the 5 to 10 foot turnaround jumpers and baby hook shots that worked at his time in Purdue, but it won't translate well due to his shorter 6'9" frame. He can still use his above average use of strength to be a good rebounder, but his upside is significantly limited, thus placing 80th in my rankings. Trey won't last long in the NBA system, but he will still be a starting caliber overseas player. At 81, we have Bryce Hopkins. He's a versatile wing, reminding me of Dillon Brooks and Dante Cunningham. Bryce Hopkins is a do-it-all wing who consistently focuses on making the best play for the team. His natural ability is off the charts. It looks like he's born to play basketball. My biggest gripe with him as a prospect is that he isn't special in any particular area and he's already 23. My draft bet is that Bryce Hopkins will play over 70 games in his first 3 seasons in the NBA. At 82, we have Keyshawn Hall. He's a physical wing, reminding me of Jalen Wilson and George Niang. Keyshawn Hall uses physical gifts to be the main option at every school he attended. He had the green light to shoot as much as he wanted, and it would set the tone or deter his team's win probability. Hall also was an underrated glass crasher in college. There isn't too much that divides him from other wings in the class and may just get caught lacking in the race to fill out roster spots. Keyshawn Hall goes undrafted. My draft bet is that Keyshawn Hall goes undrafted but shows out in Summer League, earning a 2-way contract. At 83, we have Jackson Kohler. He's a skilled post-up technician, reminding me of Adrian Payne and John Lure. Coach Izzo just has a way of creating the most fundamentally sound players in college basketball. Jackson fits that stereotype to a T. His play style is reminiscent of a traditional Biggs footwork paired with a stretch 4-shot diet. Such a difficult prospect to rank, but I will be keeping a close eye on his journey. My draft bet is that Jackson will outperform everyone's pre-draft rankings, including my own. 83rd is his floor. At 84, we have AJ Storr. He's a dynamic scoring wing, reminding me of RJ Barrett and Kevin Knox. AJ Storr and I actually grew up in the same city, and if I remember correctly, we played against each other in middle school, unless he played up an age group. Could be wrong, but I have a soft spot for local talent. With that being said, Storr has had a roller coaster of a college career. At Wisconsin, he looked like a first rounder, and at Kansas, he didn't showcase any of his special traits whatsoever. In his final year at Ole Miss, AJ started to look like himself again, but his effort was inconsistent, and without consistency, there's no trusting this prospect. Top 60 talent, but there isn't enough evidence that he can be relied on to win games. My draft bet is that AJ Storr's first year will determine whether he will sink or swim in the NBA. At 85, we have Trey Donaldson. He's a floor general, reminding me of Jose Alvarado and Kobe White. Trey Donaldson is a high-energy dimer that isn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with any defender. My favorite quality of his is how he has gotten better and more confident year after year. In a guard-heavy draft class, Donaldson doesn't have as much value as he would in years past, but I wouldn't be surprised if a team took a shot on him at the end of the draft. My draft bet is that Trey Donaldson will be a premier 2-way player in the NBA. I meant to say G League, not NBA. Isaiah Nelson at 86. His archetype is a rim-running anchor. He reminds me of Onyeka Okongwu, Nadim Bona. Nelson averaged a near double-double with 3 stocks a game in his final college season. He has clear traits that project him to be a rim-protecting forward, but he definitely needs to bulk up, as 218 pounds won't cut it at the next level. Not being able to shoot with a rather common archetype is also a red flag. The ceiling is high, but the floor is low if he can't grow in his game. My draft bet is that an organization will draft him too early and regret it. At 87, we have Melvin Council Jr. He's a scoring guard, reminding me of CJ Watson and Ty Lawson. One of my favorite memories of the college basketball season was Melvin Council's clutch 36-point game against NC State this year. I thoroughly remember wrapping Christmas presents, being in awe of his presence on the court. He most likely won't touch an NBA court, but that 9 3-pointer performance proved that he can be a microwave scorer in rare situations. My draft bet is that Melvin Council will forever be known for December 13th, 2025, and not anything he does in his professional career. At 88, we have Nick Martinelli. He is a mid-range technician, reminding me of Rodney Hood and TJ Warren. Nick Martinelli was an absolute dog at Northwestern. He is a pure scorer who averaged 23 points per game, but the vast majority of those points came in the mid-range, which recently hasn't been an ideal shot diet for his impact players in the NBA. Martinelli's motor enabled him to become an able rebounder. The kicker for Nick is his defense. He is just so easy to blow past, and there are no signs of immediate improvement. My draft bet is that Nick Martinelli will be a fun G League player for many years. At 89, we have Chase Ross, who is a 3-and-D player, reminding me of Bones Highland and Jalen Pickett. Chase Ross had a down year in three-point shooting, but he has shown glimpses of being an above-average shooter throughout his college career. Ross prospers as an on-ball defender, generating 2.3 steals per game over the past year. At this point of the class, glimpses and singular statistical outliers aren't enough for me to consider a player draftable, which is why Chase Ross kicks off the final tier of players as a UDFA flyer. My draft bet is that Chase Ross will be a primary scorer on the Golden Eagles team featured in the annual The Basketball Tournament. Great tournament if you ever watch that every year. At 90, we have Josh Dix. He is a connective scoring guard, reminding me of Austin Reeves and Matthew Dellavedova. Dix shot 40% from three his first 3 years in college and then randomly dropped to 34.8% in senior season. If it wasn't for his past success and ideal size for a guard, he wouldn't be on my draft radar. Let's hope last season was a fluke. Draft bet is that Josh Dix will play professional basketball for less than 4 seasons. At 91, we have Riley Kugel. His archetype is a role player, reminding me of Nick Young and Kelly Oubre. Riley Kugel is an all-around solid player with a decent build and moderate to good athletic ability, surely worth a summer league contract. My draft bet is that Riley Kugel will immediately turn to play overseas for a larger contract and role on his team. Number 92, we have Nick Townsend. He is a role player, reminding me of Sam Decker and Alan Smailagic. I have to show love to Yale's finest. Another common shooting wing, but the lack of athleticism and the unknown of how many schemes he can fit to are red flags. I hope he gets a chance, but Townsend's NBA outlook is an uphill battle. My draft bet is that Nick Townsend signs with the Canadian basketball team. Why not, eh? At 93, we have Boopie Miller. He's a pure point guard, reminding me of Devontae Graham and Isaiah Thomas. Boopie Miller is an undersized open floor impact player. He can add value in the attack and kick scheme as a passer and a shooter. Sadly, he doesn't have a special enough trait to look past his physical limitations. My draft bet is that Boopie Miller will become a G League sixth man. At 94, we have Jalen Washington. His archetype is a mid-range rim protector, reminding me of Daniel Tice and Mo Spades. Washington is an efficient mid-range threat that commonly acts as a screener and cutter for Tyler Tanner at Vanderbilt. His mid-range touch is icing on the cake, ensuring his success on those two actions. He's an average defender. In order to boost his chances at signing an NBA contract, he will need to expand his shooting arsenal and become more aggressive on both sides of the ball. My draft bet is that Jalen Washington will get picked up as a UDFA but fail to touch an NBA roster unless he works on my suggestions shown above. At 95, we have Toby Awaka. He is an energizing glass cleaner, reminding me of Daron Sharp and Dennis Rodman. Toby Awaka actually does have a special trait in his ability to offensive rebound. Other than that, skill in being a good athlete who has a high motor, he is raw as they come. At 22 years old, it would be a risk to draft him, but honestly shows decent upside as a niche offensive rebounding athlete. My draft bet is that Toby Awaka will get drafted. At 96, we have Toby Lawal. He's a pogo stick finisher, reminding me of Ron Holland and Derrick Jones Jr. Toby Lawal wowed at combine with a standing 40-inch vertical and a 45.5-inch max vertical. Lawal uses athleticism, becoming a good play finisher and rebounder. Despite the historic leaping ability, being a raw prospect at age 33 is just a no-go in the draft world. At some point, he has to figure out how to utilize his athleticism in other areas. My draft bet is, with all the potential in the world, Toby Lawal will never develop. 97, we have Oscar Clough. Archetype is dominant rebounder, with shades of Mason Plumlee and Emil Jefferson. Oscar Clough added 1.33 points per possession when attacking the rim. A huge reason why Purdue picked him up from South Dakota State was his post vision and playmaking ability. Obviously, he's an accomplished rebounder as well as a modest interior shot blocker. Clough is most likely to close to his peak already, forcing his draft stock tank into undraftable territory. My draft bet is that Oscar Clough will be remembered as a college hoops legend who never blossomed at the pro level. At 98, we have Nate Biddle, who is a role player reminding me of Quentin Post and Fiyando Kabengele. Nate Biddle has a great block rate despite his athletic deficiency. He is smart enough to know how to deter shooters into uncomfortable positions. Other than that, his traits are pretty mediocre. The shooting and connective passing are overhyped, and his body is reminiscent of a middle-aged dad. I don't see how he can contribute in the NBA whatsoever. My draft bet is that Nate Biddle will play overseas for his whole career. 99, we have Trey White. He's a physical floor runner, reminding me of TJ Warren and Jeremy Grant. TJ White was a college journeyman who played for iconic schools and was a fine player. He's isn't afraid of contact and simply loves playing the game of basketball. There are no outstanding qualities to his game. Trey White's professional career will last no more than 5 years. That's my draft bet. Finally, we're here at number 100, Ven-Allen Lubin. He's an undersized motor big with shades of Landry Fields and Jason Collins. Lubin played center in college, but will have no transition to the four moving forward. He is a high motor player that plays fundamentally sound and is coachable. He's the type of guy that is good for team chemistry and a locker room leader. My draft bet is that Ven-Allen Lubin will play less than 4 years of professional basketball before retiring. That's it. I can read my final thoughts, and then we're done here. So this is the most excited I've ever been for a draft. The top end talent is out of this world. Nobody knows who will end up where. Scouting this draft class has provided me joy and tough moments this year, and I wish I could relive it again. My dream is to scout for a living, and hopefully this leap of faith is the first step in getting there. If you are still reading at this point, I appreciate you beyond words, and I hope you were able to learn more about this pool of talent entering the NBA. If you want to connect, all my social links are there below. And if you like this video, please subscribe, like, comments, but most importantly, please go read my article and share it with others who you think may be interested in the NBA draft. You can share this video as well, but obviously, you know, I was struggling there, recovering from my sickness, and I do think that this article I put a lot of work into, over 40 hours of work, and you know, however you can support, please do, so I can keep on doing this at a high level. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I'm super excited for the draft on Tuesday. I will be posting a video of my predictive mock draft coming up here within the next couple days. So, all right, peace.